we are going to discuss about algorithm, properties of algorithm and space requirement of an algorithm. So whenever we are talking about algorithm is a finite set of instructions and that instructions are used for performing or for fulfilling a particular task. So whenever we are talking about properties of algorithm, there are five important properties or characteristics even you can say of an algorithm: input, output, definiteness, finiteness, and effectiveness. So, if I'm talking about input, if I won't provide any kind of input to my algorithm, I won't get any output. So, input it is actually the data to be transformed during the computation to produce the output. So, it is compulsory that an algorithm should have zero or more well defined inputs. And basically, input precision requires that you know what kind of data, how much, and what form the data should be. Output. The output is actually the data that is resulting from the computation, means whatever the result you are expecting from your algorithm. So an algorithm should have one or more well designed output, and whatever the output you are getting, that output it should be matched with the desired output. So your actual output, that is your algorithm is producing, and desired output is the output that you are expecting to be uh, fulfilled. So output precision requires that you know what kind of data, how much, and what form the output should be. Third is definiteness. Definiteness means algorithm must specify every step and the order the steps must be taken in the process. So definiteness means specifying the sequence of operations for turning input into output. And of course, whenever we are writing algorithm, it should be clear. The instruction should be clear and unambiguous. Details of each step must be also spelled out properly. And it should contain everything quantitatively, not qualitatively. The next is finiteness. The word finite is itself indicating in the definition of an algorithm. Algorithm must stop eventually. Stopping may means that whatever output you are expecting, you got it, or you get a response that no solution is possible. So algorithm must terminate after like a finite number of steps. Of course, algorithm it should not be infinite and it should be always terminated within defined number of steps. And more important is that there is no point in developing an algorithm which is infinite, because that will be useless for the purpose that we are expecting to solve. And the last characteristic is effectiveness. For an algorithm to be effective, it means all those steps that are required to get to output must be feasible with the available resources. It should not contain any unnecessary and redundant steps which could make an algorithm ineffective. A very simple example: suppose you are cooking a recipe and you chop vegetables. That vegetables are not required in your recipe. Still you chop, still you have given time to chop those vegetables. Then of course it is waste of time, because for cooking a recipe I should prepare the things only which are required for that recipe. So, whenever we are talking about algorithm analysis, the very first domain that we need to discuss is performance analysis. For performance analysis, these are the seven questions that every algorithm must answer satisfactorily. First is, does the program meet original specifications of the task, whatever the purpose of your task was there, and the program you are writing, whether that is matching or not. Does it work correctly? Does your program work correctly? Does the program contain documentation? This documentation word is very important. Whenever we are writing a program, it is always a good habit to write down the program with the help of like comments. You should use the comments in it. And the role of comment is that whatever the logic you are using for writing the program, or the variables you are taking, or whatever the thing, that additional documentation which is not affecting the execution of program, but still that documentation is needed for understanding the flow of program in a better way. Then does the program effectively use functions? Functions, it reduces the complexity of the task. So the program is using functions or not. Is the program code readable or not? Does the program efficiently use primary and secondary storage? And whether program's running time is acceptable for the task. These two characteristics that we are going to discuss, point number 6 and point number 7. 6 is related with the space requirement and 7 is related with the time requirement. So, whenever we are talking about space requirement, we have to focus on understanding space complexity. Space complexity and time complexity, these two terms you are continuously using in data structures also, and in a subject design and analysis of algorithm also. So basically space complexity, we can say that it is addition of these two things, the C plus SP of I. The C is the fixed space requirement and this SP of I is the variable space requirement. So I can see that the space complexity is basically total amount of memory which is required, and it is basically addition of two important factors, fixed space and variable space requirement. Fixed space, it is a space required to store certain data, and variables, that can be like a declaration of a variable, declaration of a constant, whatever the instruction space is required, all these kind of things which are not dependent on the size of problem, that is considered in the fixed space and that is being represented by using C. A variable space requirement, SP of I, this I you can see here, this I is a instance here. So if I'm talking about instance, if I'm taking a variable A, it is taking 2 bytes. But if I'm taking a array A of 10, so it is taking 20 bytes considering integer text 2 bytes here. Right, so variable space is certainly depending on the size. We can take an example of recursion stack space, even we can take an example of dynamic memory allocation. So we'll talk about recursion and dynamic memory allocation afterwards. But at the moment, just try to understand that SP of I means there is some instance, there is some size, and your size of the problem is definitely depending on this instance. So whenever we are calculating space complexity, we will take three examples here. That if I'm writing a simple arithmetic function where I'm not using any kind of repetition, then we will take a space complexity of an iterative function where we will use a loop and we will see how this particular loop will be used for finding the space complexity. And third example, we will go for space complexity of a recursive function. So we are discussing three types of functions for understanding space complexity in a better way. The very first function you can see here, space complexity of a simple arithmetic function. You can see that we have taken a user defined function ABC here, and we have taken three variables, float A, float B, float C. Actually these are not variables, these are arguments. You can see that in this bracket, in this opening and closing brackets with the function, we have used these variables. So these variables will be called as arguments, or even you can call them as parameters also. And whatever the value of ABC that will be get by a function which is going to call function ABC, it is going to return this kind of computation. So you can see that some plus, star, minus, division, you have adding 4.00 value over there. So this is a simple, maybe this is a complicated equation, but it is giving you only one result. One value will be there, because return keyword return can return one value at one time only. Right. So, though the expression you can see on the screen is complicated, still it will be evaluated as a single value. But now this is a plain example. Why? Because we have not used any kind of repetition here. See, when I'm using the term repetition, it means I'm going to repeat certain block of statements in my program for defined times. Whatever number of times I'm expecting for that time, I'm going to use that. Okay, so repetition, it can be achieved in any kind of programming, either by using iteration or maybe by using recursion. But there are some simple functions which needs constant requirement, like the function you can see on the screen. There is no repetition. some variables are there, some arguments are there, and you are performing the operation, and you are doing that step only for one time, you are doing it for constant time. So if I'm talking about this function, and if we want to find out the space complexity of this function it will have only a fixed space requirement. If it is a float, you can see it's a float, it will take 4 bytes, b will take 4 bytes, c will take 4 bytes, and whatever the value you are returning, of course it will be again a float value, because you are performing that arithmetic expression, you are computing that arithmetic expression for float only, so it will return a float value. So as this example is not having any instance, this example it will have only one part of that fixed space complexity, that is fixed space requirement, the variable space requirement of this function sp of I. So here program name is abc, function name is abc, so sabc of I it will be 0 because there is no repetition. So this function it will have only fixed space requirement. Now if I'm talking about space complexity of a iterative function, you can see this function. And in this function we have taken a variable n here and a list array here. And you have taken one more variable times sum, and the objective is that n is the size of my list array, and whatever the elements I'm including in my list array, I'm going to add it. So for storing the result of addition, we have taken a variable temp sum. As we are talking about iteration, of course, iteration means I'm going to perform some repetition. Just before some time, I told you that repetition can be achieved by one of the two ways. One, you can use iteration, another, you can use recursion. In this example, we have used iteration. So you can see that we have taken a list array. N is the size of my array. For storing the result of addition, we have taken temp sum. Then we have taken a loop for this for loop, and you are going to make the addition, that whatever temp sum equals to temp sum plus list of I. So this I it will be 0, this I it will be 2, 1, 2, 3, whatever it may be, whatever the value of n you are going to uh, give here, that according to that addition it will be performed, and at the last it is going to return the temp sum function for it, right? So the simple thing is that here if you have observed that what is the space requirement, so I is your counter variable, and if I'm talking about this loop, and if I'm talking like suppose I is a variable, I if it is a variable, then it will have three things. It will have a location name, a location value, and some address it will be given to that particular location. So suppose I am assuming that I variable it's stored at the address 65544, and initially you can see here value of I is 0, so you are keeping this value of I as 0. If I'm considering n as 5, so it means size of my array is 5, and whatever the elements I'm using there. So I'm not actually intended to explain this topic for output. I just want to show you the flow of how iterative function or how the repetition can be achieved through iterative function, right? So you can see here that for I equals to 0, and you have taken address 65544 here. So whenever this loop it will be executed, it will be value of I is 0, and the first instance is value of n it will be 5. So 0 less than 5. Is the condition is true? Yes, it is true. And then it is whatever the value list of 0, the element which is stored at list of 0, it will be added with temp sum. Temp sum you have already declared to 0. And then you are modifying the temp sum with the recent temp sum that you are getting. So after that value of I it will be 1. I will be incremented 1. This 0 it will be overwritten with this 1. So if you assume that this is an integer variable, and I am saying that integer variable it take 2 bytes. So till the value of I doesn't become 5, you are going to execute this loop, right? I less than n, till this condition is true, you are going to execute the statement temsum equals to temsum plus list of I. So it will be list of 0, list of 1, list of 2, list of 3, list of 4. And when I incrementing value of I at one instance, value of I, it will become 5. At that particular step, you need to stop because your condition gets failed. Right. So in this particular scenario, if you have observed value of I, it will be overwritten with 0, overwritten with 1, 1 overwritten with 2, 2 overwritten with 3, 3 overwritten with 4, 4 overwritten with 5, and likewise. So, at one memory location which was taking 2 bytes, you were going to calculate, you were actually occupying only 2 bytes, though the value of I is being changed. So, the space requirement of iterative function, it is generally like you can say that if I'm using a loop, I have to take one counter variable and I will update the value on it. This is first point of this example. The second point is that whenever we're saying that we have taken an input array and output is a simple value, you have to also focus on one thing, that is you have taken an array here and you have passed array as an argument here. So basically whatever we are discussing for space complexity, the simple thing is that I told you, wherever there is an instance, the space will change accordingly. So in this example, there is an array, there is an instance n, so it will be actually n, the space requirement, it should be actually n, but it is not the case. Why it is not the case? Because you can see here, for this list array, you have taken temp sum equals to, for this list array, you have passed array as an argument here. For this sum function, you have passed array as an argument here. So when the array is being passed as an argument, it depends on the programming language that you are going to use, how it will be passed. So C programming, it passes all parameters by value. So when the array is passed as an argument to a function, C interprets it as a passing first element of the array. So with that first element of array, the remaining elements you can be loaded and the addition will be performed. But for this list array, C programming, it does not copy the array. So you have to also check that which programming language you are using. If you are using C, then C does not copy the array. So though this is an example of instance, the space requirement of iterative function, though I have used a list array, it was having instance, and still the variable space requirement is 0. Now whenever we are talking about this recursive function, for the same purpose, for list array, for n instance, I have taken r sum and I'm going to perform the addition. But now, this time I am not going to use iteration, I am going to use recursion. So you can see within this r sum function, you are calling this r sum only. So whatever the condition, you have to see, you have to give the condition. See, whenever I'm using the term repetition, the thing is that I should know 2 points. First point, from what value my repetition should start, and this last point where my repetition should stop. Because if I won't provide any condition for stopping it, then it will go in infinite loop. Right, so you have to give the condition. Like for loop, you have given the condition I less than n, and whatever the value of n is there, and as you are incrementing the value of I, at one point the condition will get false, and once the condition get false, you will not get, the control will not be transferred inside the loop, it will be outside the loop. The same task now I want to do by using recursion. I want to take an array and I want to make the addition of elements within the array. So you can see here that in this rsum function, you are passing two values here, list and n minus 1. So within rsum, you are calling rsum only. So the thing is that here you have to again see that there are two parameters, and every time you are calling these two parameters. Note, whenever we are using any recursive function, when the recursive function is calling itself within the function body, the parameters plus the local variables of that particular function gets overloaded again, reloaded in the memory. Reloaded in the memory means originally if I am talking about n variable, n it suppose takes 2 bytes or 4 bytes or whatever it may be. If it is taking 4 bytes as an integer, then that particular n it will be reloaded in the memory for all the recursive call. So always remember, whenever we are talking about a recursive version of any function, the local variables plus the parameters are reloaded in the memory, because until the arguments or parameters will not be loaded in the memory, you won't be able to perform or to complete that particular recursive call. So of course here the space needed for one recursive call is the number of bytes required for these two parameters. One parameter is your list array and another is n. So if I'm considering n is my max size, then total space variable requirement it will be s r sum max size 12 into max size. So if max size is 1000, the variable space needed by recursive version is 12 into 1000, that is 12,000 bytes. How this 12 comes, how this 12 is being calculated? This 12 is being calculated with the array pointer, because though you have not used pointer here, array it will be called by passing the address of 0th element. So internally it is pointer only. So it is taking 4 bytes, as it is address it is taking 4 bytes. This is second parameter n. If I'm considering integer take 4 bytes, it will be again 4 bytes. And for recursive call it will be 4 bytes. So 4 plus 4 plus 4, total 12 bytes of memory it will be requiring here. So this is the space complexity of a recursive function. So if you have observed both the examples carefully, iterative also and recursive also, then you may have note here that space requirement of iterative function is better than space requirement of a recursive function, because whenever a function is being called, then the arguments plus the local variables will have to be reloaded in the memory. So the space requirement it can become huge. So you can see here for the same example, if I'm taking n as 5, total memory requirement it will be something 12 into 5, that is 6 bytes. And the same case if you are doing with the help of for loop, then you are just using the I variable over there and counter variable is being updated with the value. So this was all about space complexity. In the next video, we will discuss about time complexity. Thank you all of you.